After experiencing top lane last time and that being one of the more boring experiences, I decided to switch it up a bit and I went for jungle. In the process of this videos that I'm making right now, I want to do this video for every role, so next time would be mid lane, but for now let's focus on jungle. The role which gets blamed for everything that goes wrong. You into your lane, that's jungler's fault. You died to an obvious gank from the enemy jungler, your jungler did something wrong. And even if you carry the game as a jungler, you don't get a single honor, since mostly bot lanes are just sucking each other's cocks and giving each other honors, and the other players don't understand what the jungler did for them. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. And if you think maybe a bit over exaggerating, you will see the games and you will see why. And I only did 3 games this time because I couldn't do more. Once again, I first timed a champion that one of my higher elo friends played a lot recently. To start the game off, my troll in the top lane decided to honor his name and chase after a kill, but not even get an assist in the process, and leaving me to start solo. That's the jungler stream, am I right? Then I for the first time get to hear the sound every jungler loves to hear. And you know, I love it so much, so I decide to just run it down as well, just to show you how bad this elo really is. Look at this! My first successful gank! Yay! But to be honest, the damage that Shyvana gets at level 6 is really balanced. Then Qiyana, who got first blood in mid onto a Kassadin and then died solo to him, now died while running through a completely dark river with no vision at all and then getting caught. Now the big question is, whose fault is this? You're correct, it's jungler's fault. Then we lose a team fight at Drake, and by this point I have to admit I'm quite hitted off of my mid laner. So I blame it on her for not being there earlier than a Kassadin, regardless of circumstances, so deal with it. So then I do the only rational thing. I cast a kill from her. I mean, it made her mad, but me visibly happy. Yeah, that's just not the best idea against an AP Shyvana, but Akers have no princess, so whatever. And, as always, one team just decides to run it down for no apparent reason, resulting in us getting a precious Infernal Drake. Because that makes the fireballs just get more and more bigger. It's at this point where I lose faith in this elo and my team, and we are only in game 1. My mentality takes another hit to the head after we got a pick on the enemy jungle and top and try to Nash, but our top laner, instead of tanking it, decides to farm another wave top lane, resulting in us not getting Nash. At this point, I just want to scream at everyone in my team. It doesn't get better when these 2 idiots overstay harder than Amazon workers who are still on the toilet when Jeff Bezos came back from space. 1 big fireball, 2 big fireballs, 3 big fireballs, 4 big fireballs, and the teamfight is won. Again, our mid laner dies while face checking an unwarded bush, which results in us losing the ensuing team fight closely, and the Qiyana having the audacity to blame us for it. Just gonna say, Karen. After a few last fireballs, the fate of the game is then finally sealed and we win. But if the enemy Kassadin would have had a few more brain cells, he could have easily won the game as he got super fat in the early to mid game. But you know what am I talking about? Using your brain in gold elo? Like, literally no one does that. Game 2, and this time I'm playing a champion that I'm a bit better with. And again, our mid lane gets first blood. I wonder how that is gonna go. At this point, I just want to prove that I have at least some macro game knowledge, as I start top lane and then path into bot lane, as that lane is gonna be the one that will decide the game. At least, hopefully. This directly proves to be right after I get a double kill on bot lane. Seems to be working out so far. So, prove me wrong on that one. But AD carries are the greediest kind of players. Remember last game where my Kiana lost lane after getting first blood? And again, every other lane is dying. A jungler stream. Top lane dies to gank, mid lane dies 1v1 once again. As we all know, he's a Yasuo main, so he overstays and gives up a shutdown. I still haven't figured out if it's inting Yasuo or carrying Yasuo. Before the events of this brewer fight, I cut it out of hair flash for me, cause nobody wants to see that. That's just not entertaining. What is entertaining though is flaming my teammates for starting a Drake while I still had no smite, and then trying to finish it with the enemy jungler right next to them. That was definitely not really close. If you haven't noticed already, this game is just for my ego, because I carried really hard. So, here's just another thing where I'm just better looking than the enemy jungler. Again, to not focus on my mistakes or something, I rather just show you the mechanical genius that is my mid laner. And yes, I just entered before that. I present to you the specialty of low elo, an ARAM, which is fittingly decided by which team has the biggest inters. Some of the talent in the enemy team could be called up by CLG. Who knows? This is another one of those moments which I just have to include, as our AD carry goes split pushing solo, then dies and giving up a huge shutdown in the process. Love to see it. At this point, I am just 1v9ing every team fight, closing out this game slowly by getting a soul and Nash, and only dying once due to having no mana. And at the end, to answer the question that is on everybody's mind, yes, Yasuo proceeded to int a lot and be the inting Yasuo. So, guess what? I 1v9'd the game having 22 kills, 13 assists and only dying twice. And I still got no honors. But at least I got gold for the 100th time maybe. Game 3. The game which tilted me the most and which I had to play with a pre-made friend because my back hurt too much from carrying the last 2 games. In the loading screen, me and my pre-mate already spotted an apparently not so rare breed of players, Lux OTPs, with way too many mastery points. Now I have a little quiz for you. We see Kha'Zix on the top side, we haven't seen the enemy top, and our Garen shows that he's not covering anything. So, in which bush are Kha'Zix and Mundo trapping? Bush 1, bush 2, bush 3 or bush 4? If you guessed bush 3, you're correct. But apparently Garen with his Garen player brain didn't get that, so... A bit tilted, I tried to invade Kha'Zix to get us red buff, since our bot had potentially prio, but Ezreal dies, I die, and Syndra gets a double buff. Yeah, this game seems fucking doomed.
Another one.
Another death, because Kha'Zix can just camp me at my red buff now. And then can't even get away because Garen, as the champion plays, has no brain and doesn't look at the minimap. Jungle is just so stressful. First gank, and still to this day when I'm editing this, I can't believe that it worked. Also, this game I'm going to flame a lot of players, since nobody, really nobody, was in the possession of a brain. I will now quote a friend on one of the most important rules in low elo. Everybody will int at some point, and if they have a shutdown, you just get more gold from them. One, I hate my bot lane because they don't move later. I suddenly hear some screams getting louder. I am getting real NA vibes right now, as the enemy team throws the game better than any NA team could ever do. Jokes. Nobody can throw as good as NA, we all know that. To make it a full NA game and comparable to another sport that is mostly played on the beach, we, and with we, mostly me, threw it right back to the other team. So then they throw it back to us, because why not? And then, guess what? We throw it back to them! Way! Sometime later at Soul Point, after I picked off Syndra, and then tried to lifesteal off of minions because her R did almost all my HP, I got flamed by Garen for being in bot lane. That just proves that this guy had no map awareness at all. Why am I mentioning this, you might ask? Well, this game it's not especially about jungle, since both junglers did fairly good. But it's more about my teammates. Speaking of which, let's start with Garen. He farmed up, then got fed due to the design of his champion and no one in Elo really knowing how to play against it. But on the other side, this guy had no map awareness, as mentioned multiple times, and he had no overall game knowledge. Ori was my pre-mate, so I'm not gonna touch on that one. Ezreal got caught out of position more times than stepsisters get caught stuck in porn. Oh, you wanna know how often? Let me make a short montage with some relaxing music. And last, Ashe was AP support Ashe. She played decent, but her pick just did nothing. And I think I played okay, but I got pretty tilted early on, which made it hard to focus. And as a fazit, I can't really understand people who main jungle. You are legit the punching bag of the team. And your work doesn't get recognized whatsoever. Just like mental health problems that men struggle with. And if you haven't got it already, we lost the game. And now I definitely need therapy. Bye.